Alright guys, I'm going to try to go through this with you. And I know most of you, or some of you, like Ash, you guys know how to do this stuff. I mean, this is just relatively simple, but a lot of people don't know how to do it. So I'll go over it real quick. I'm going to cut the legs first. I've got pressure treated 4x4 for the legs here. And the reason I use pressure treated is because the wood won't rot in the rain, and even if it gets dirt on it. And same thing for the deck board. This is why I buy deck board. Number one, it's rounded off. It's got a nicer shape to it, and it's also pressure treated, made for decks. Same thing I built the little deck, over there with. I buy the cheap stuff. You can, buy. The premium deck board, which probably won't warp as badly, or it is a little bit better, but it's a buck more a length. And for plant stands and little things like I've got going out here, I'm not really that concerned about shrinkage or warpage. This is these deck boards, I think, cost about $4.43 or whatever a piece. So they're relatively cheap. And I was going to hit on how to cut a 2x or a 4x4. And basically, the tools I use are pretty simple. A tape measure, of course, a carpenter's pencil that you can sharpen with a razor knife. And I use a speed square for the small stuff like this. So basically, if you have a skill saw like this, which is, a pretty much standard skill saw, I forget how big the blade is, maybe an 8-inch, 7 1/4 blade. You're not going to cut through a 4x4 in one shot. So basically, what we're going to do, and I'm making 15-inch legs, and the reason I'm making 15-inch legs is because that is a nice height where it doesn't interfere, it doesn't get in the way, it doesn't get wobbly, and it's not too close to the ground. You can still get under it. For me, for the plant stands, that's fine. Anyway, we're going to use the speed square. We're going to trace a line right here to 15 inches. Now this wood is wet, so of course it's going to be a little bit hard to draw on. And what we're going to do is we're going to flip it, and we're going to go right from there. We're going to line that up. We're going to make another line over. Then we're going to flip it again and make another line over here. So now we got two corresponding lines on either end of the on either side. So at this point, don't forget to drink plenty of beer. That way, if you measure wrong, you can always blame it on the beer. So basically what you're going to do is you're going to cut, and you're going to cut not in the center of the line, but a little bit past it, just to leave the line. That way you'll have an exact 15-inch measurement. So I like to pull the gauge back, that way it doesn't jump quite as much. Okay, now do that cut, and now we go over to the other side, and we'll cut on the same section of the line that we cut on the other side. Now, unless your table is 100% perfect, the best way to do this is with a chop saw, a big one, and you'll get one full cut. But unfortunately, I don't have that. I'm not really a woodworker, I'm a mechanic, so my woodworking equipment is limited to homeowner type stuff. So Here we go on the other side. There we go. And as you see, nice clean cut, nice square cut, and that is one leg. So now we'll be cutting 8 of those total. 10-foot board will give me my 8 legs at 15 inches. So that's it for how to cut a 4x4. And I'm going to get to work. I'm going to cut the rest of this up, and probably I'll make my end pieces in a little bit, but I won't do the tops or the side rails until tomorrow, and we'll pick it up after that. So I hope this tripod filming works out pretty good. Alrighty, I've got all my 4x4s cut. Usually they give you about ½ inch longer. This one worked out exact. I mean exact. Actually, maybe about a 1/16 of an inch short, but that's not going to show up anywhere. Now I'm going to cut the end pieces here for the width of the table, and that's going to be 16 inches to the line. And now I'd like to mention another thing. A lot of guys, they'll cut one piece and then they'll just put it on top of this, and then they'll trace it again, and they'll cut inside the line, and you'll get too much variation in the boards if you start cutting and tracing and cutting and tracing. So I measure each piece individually, and that way I have more control over the quality of my cut. And again, the speed square, something like this, you mark it off, you go right to where you put your arrow. This wood is wet too. These pencils, you have to push kind of hard and hold it down, but we'll be cutting 4 of the end pieces for the 2 tables. Now this piece of wood, I checked them all for warpage, but I was getting kind of tired of dragging them down and checking them, and I didn't check every one of them really good, and this one's got warpage. Now I had another 8-footer in the back that I didn't use for the deck, so that one's straight and all the rest of them are straight too. So I'm going to cut the end pieces out of the one that has a bow in it, and at 16 inches the bow is really not going to show up very badly, plus there will be an overhang from the top anyway. So if you use the bowed side, the down, the valley side of it, then it'll come over and you'll never see it, and it really won't have any effect on it. So I'm going to cut those pieces, and then tomorrow I'll have to dig my screws out, because I screw everything together. I don't nail it. I use outdoor wood screws and put this all together, and they do have to be outdoor wood screws, not just galvanized or whatever. They have to say outdoor. So I like the wood to dry out a little bit anyway, so it'll sit out here for maybe a day, and it'll get a little bit drier, because when you're screwing into wet wood, it has a tendency to want to split, and also to sink in too deep, because there's not enough resistance due to all the moisture in the wood. And actually, if you screw into the wet wood, you will see water draw out of it. So letting it sit for a little bit is usually a good thing. If you can let it sit a couple days before you cut it, actually, it might be even better. But once the boards are straight and they're still wet to a degree, then once you screw them down, they'll hold their form much better. So as they try to warp, they can't really fight that, the screwed down portion. And of course, these tables are going to have 2x4s braces in the middle. It's not just going to be a top and nothing to support it, because the plants are going to be kind of heavy, So I'm going to get to work on this, and then I'm going to do a quick blowout here, clean this wood sawdust up, and that's it for today. I did want to mention one other thing here that I didn't think about, that when you're using a skill saw like this and you're cutting this type of wood, you want to adjust your blade, because as you can see, you've got way too much blade coming down there, and what you want to do is adjust the table, tighten that up just a little bit, and what you're going to do is you're going to push down until the one tooth is right beyond it. Now I've got a carbon, or I can't remember the name of this blade, but the tips are made for cutting somewhat steel too. You tighten that up, and that way you're not digging that entire blade through there, and you've got much better control. So now you've got the wood is going to, I better adjust that down a little bit more. There we go. Okay, so as you can see, the teeth are just a little bit beyond it. Give you much better control, much better cut. Alright, that's all I wanted to mention. I keep remembering things.